This is the Making Noise podcast.
I mean, it took a little while to figure out, but once I figured it out, I was like, and it's not like easy, because sometimes you're at work and you want to be doing something else. It's not like, and also for me, it's the like besides like the security, it's also just the consistency. Like I was saying when I came back, if I have like a clean slate of nothing, I won't. It'll be hard for me to accomplish stuff. But if I'm like, man, I got to go to work in 3 hours, and I also got to go get groceries, and then I'll have like 2 hours to compose. Then those 2 hours to me feel like the most essential 2 hours in my whole world. I'm like, I got these 2 hours. It's gonna be amazing. And then I don't know. It builds a schedule for itself. Then.
Well, what a great motivator too.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that. Yeah, and again, it's also the variety of like just not doing music all the time. Mm-hmm. You like are in different aspects. You're like experiencing different aspects of the world. You have like this sort of like job thing, and then you also have this outlet, this massive creative outlet as well. And then that helps with the job too. You're not just working the job and doing your thing. You also have this other. I always try to like balance those two worlds of just like working and then also like composing and playing saxophone and playing with the band and stuff. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they collide, and it's scheduling can be hard too and stuff. But that I think that I'll deal with those things like scheduling and like maybe sometimes not sleeping as much rather than just like not having the security and not having the schedule. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's it is a weird thing with trying to get things to line up properly like that. I mean, especially when you're a student and you're doing a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
But well, I don't even want to say especially when you're a student, like regardless if you're a student or not, being graduating from, no longer being in school anymore and then just trying to still do fun things, do creative things, and then at the same time have an income.
Yeah.
That the balance of like professional and personal life and
you have to at a certain point. That's one of the hardest things about getting out of school is finding that balance. Mm-hmm. And I would say that my advice would be like, if there's some young aspiring artists listening right now, would be like start the income thing first, and then I think that it helps you realize how important music is to you once you're working all the time and then you're thinking about how much you want to be doing something else, then you realize how important it is to you. It helps you put into perspective like, man, this is really important to me. Like I want to find a way to continue doing this,
It's funny you say that because that's exactly what happened to me. That's literally what got me to the point where like I have a business coach. I hired a business coach like a year ago. Uh-huh. And I was working this full-time job. It was my first like legitimate full-time office job, and I was not liking it at all. Yeah. I had health insurance, I had retirement, I had all this stuff, and I wasn't composing. I wasn't doing anything creative. I had no energy to go out and even go to performances,
Yeah.
And so I definitely hit that. I hit that, and leading me to where I am right now, doing this, like having this podcast and, seeing, like talking to people and all kinds of stuff.
How long ago was that?
That was, I started doing business coaching, I think June of 2019. Okay. And the job I had it ended in, I think it was the end of July of 2019. It was a month later. Yeah. And then since then I've worked some smaller jobs. I mean, I taught at a college in Ohio. Mm-hmm. I taught guitar lessons, and then I had a job at a hotel when I was in Bowling Green because I needed to make some money. Yeah. And then there was like small commissions, nothing too big. Certainly not enough to where it's like I can just live off commission sort of thing,
Yeah, it's It's so tough. I mean, I think that starting first with the income is the way to do it. Personally, for me, I found, because if you don't have an income, it's like it's tough. And like especially if you like want to live in a city and stuff, like the starving artist thing is not really a thing anymore. Because like New York used to be just so cheap. You know, you could get rent for like $200 a month and like, you know, work a couple days a week and be fine. So the starving artist thing is like tough, but for me, I can't, I don't know, I can't see myself doing that. And I think that it's just important, like, to work a crappy job and then realize like how much you like music, you know.
Yeah, it's a good reminder. It's a really good reminder.
And not that like any of the jobs that I worked were like super crappy or anything. It's just like, I don't know. It's so hard to find the balance. It's always like, especially working in restaurants and stuff, because you're always picking up shifts and like getting out early or like it's very fluid. And when I was in New York too, I was like dropping off. Basically, I worked for this guy that owned a ton of vibraphones and marimbas, and he would rent them to people for like gigs and stuff. So I'd like get a call the night before, and then I have to like get up and like drive a vibraphone to like a gig, or like a concert venue or whatever. So I was doing that as well. So like my schedule was just all over the place. And it was tough after a while because you're like, I don't know. You find the balance though. I think that you'll find the balance because you will start to want things and it just kind of works itself out.
Right.
I think. Yeah. But like, I don't know. It's an ongoing battle for sure. But you get better at it. You get better at it.